What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about my job experience working at Dunkin Donuts. So just before we start, this video is not like meant to bash Dunkin Donuts, because I'm sure that some other Dunkin Donuts stores are great and some people would probably love their job, but Dunkin Donuts is franchised, so they're owned by different people, and it's not like just the Dunkin Donuts brand. It's actually bought out to different people, and those people actually own the brand. So my experience working at Dunkin Donuts. So I started at Dunkin Donuts in August of 2016. I was 16 years old working at Dunkin Donuts. I mean, I only had a few hours, and I was working there. So the law in Pennsylvania is like the child labor law, where you can't work more than a couple hours. You can't be around like the ovens. You can't be on cash. Like, so I only had like a specific set of things I could do. It was mostly just cleaning. So I was cleaning from until I turned 17, but I turned 18 in December, so it didn't really matter. Um, After that, when I turned 17, I started doing everything, and then so I was making the donuts at night, but I was mostly closing because I had school in the morning. So on the closing shift, you had to make the set required amount of donuts, and you had other people there with you. And you also had to still serve people in drive-thru and serve people in front counter. Um, and throughout my time at Dunkin', it was very stressful, and I did not enjoy my job whatsoever. I actually really did not like it, but it also gave me a skill set, and I kind of appreciate what they've done at the same time. So it's kind of like it's a love-hate relationship. But so at 17, I got promoted to shift manager, and I was a manager at Dunkin' Donuts for about 2.5 years, and I worked there for a total of 3 years. So I was a manager at 17, and I had to manage people that were older than me, kids that also went to my school, kids that weren't in my school. So it was a mixed. It was a bunch of mixed ages there. So I was in charge at manager status. I was in charge of doing like counting the safe in, making sure all the money was there. I was in charge of opening and closing people's shifts out. I was in charge of making sure people were not just standing there doing nothing. Making sure that a lot of things were flowing smoothly, and if they weren't, had to talk to the people that were causing the disruption, and then reporting it to the supervisor and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I was still mostly closing. I was the closing manager, and I had mostly, I think, like two school kids closing with me every night. And the biggest stress producing thing there was probably had to be the other people I was working with, because here it was, I was 17 and I was the manager, and I was also dealing with other 17-year-olds. And the biggest thing is I didn't know how to be like hard on them. I didn't know how to separate fun from manager. So separating that was definitely a difficult time for me. So most of them thought of me as like a friend instead of like a manager. So after that, I was pretty much doing everything there. I was going from store to store. So when I turned I was still 17, and I was working at 9 different locations that they owned. So I had to travel back and forth to different locations without any other compensation. I was still getting paid the same wage per hour. And that was the biggest thing for me too, is that it just got to be too much with school and traveling everywhere, and then getting home super late and having to wake up for school in the morning. For instance, the one time I was working at Douglasville in Pennsylvania at that location, and I started my shift at 2 o'clock because I did an internship through my school where I got off school early and I went to work. So I started work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I got off at 2 o'clock in the morning because I just sent them home at 10 o'clock because we close at 10. So I was working from 10 until 2 o'clock in the morning, just cleaning up what they didn't do. They didn't really do the job at all, but I was so mad at that point, I just sent them home and was like, just go home. So I was finishing all of their stuff, closing the store, and then finally got to go home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got home at 2:30, and I fell asleep and had to get up for school at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that was also a really big drawback, and at that point, they're just really not showing any support in any way, and the supervisors acted like little kids. They didn't know how to manage a business or supervise a business. They were just worried about money, and that's all they cared about, and they even blatantly told me that. They're like, well, as long as we're making money, we don't care. Um, so pretty much at Dunkin' Donuts, they just treated me like an object instead of an actual employee, and didn't treat me as a human being. They just treated me as a way of them making money, and that's all that they cared about. That's all they talked about. So basically, how I did wind up quitting. I just walked out. I showed up for my last shift, and I stood there for an hour doing a little bit of work here and there. and I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I took my name tag off I took my manager name tag off, took all my keys, put them on the back desk, and just walked out. So basically, the moral of the story is, I mean, I did enjoy my job at certain points, but at other certain points, it was just super stressful, and got really angry, and I did not enjoy it at all. But some aspect of it did teach me a lot, in the managing aspect. Definitely taught me how to be a manager, definitely what to expect when you're a manager of a company. So it gave me a skill set of managing, so now I can go into a different job and be a manager at a different job. But if you're looking at going into Dunkin' Donuts, I'm not discouraging you from doing so. I'm just saying that my experience wasn't great, but also it was the franchise owners. They weren't treating it as a business. They just were treating it as a way of receiving money, and they didn't care how they received that money. Some Dunkins are probably a lot different, and they pay better. They treat their employees better. It just depends. So before you actually go get a job at Dunkin' Donuts, wherever you live, I'd recommend to go to like online and look at the reviews from customers and people that work there and get their opinions before you go make the decision at working at Dunkin' Donuts. But with all that being said, if you like Dunkin' Donuts, that's great. I still go there. I get drinks. But if you're planning on working there, definitely do your research before you actually go apply and get the job. But with all that being said, that was my experience working at Dunkin' Donuts, and I hope you guys don't have the same one. I hope you have actually a really better experience than me. And with all that being said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you. And before you leave, go subscribe and drop a like and comment. Comment what I should do in the next video, because I want to make a video that you guys want to see and get some feedback from you guys. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.